So another quick take. I did get done preparing my banana ice cream. Here's the remainder of it. I need to actually pour it into this container right behind me, or in front of me. Behind the NutriBullet container in my hand and in front of my face. For clarification. But I did decide to throw in some green peppers and parsley in with my banana peel barbecue. My faux pulled pork that I'm making. Pulled pork, pulled chicken, whichever. That I'm making. Just because I do have some parsley and green peppers in my refrigerator, and I figured, why not? It's healthy, they're a good combination, especially in these days when food prices have gotten out of hand. It is great to think outside of the box and find other ways to make fantastic healthy meals, which this is a fantastic healthy meal, and so is the banana peel ice cream, because it doesn't have any added sugar at all. I didn't add any sugar, so it's only the sweetness of the bananas and cocoa powder, as anybody who has ever baked will attest that it doesn't have any sweetness to it at all. In fact, sometimes you probably want to add some sweetness to it, but I didn't add any sweetness to it at all. But in addition to that, if you have a garden and if you're going to try the banana peel and there's little bits of the peel that's not any good and you're going to throw it away, try composting if you have a garden space. And that was part of the reason for this additional video, because I actually have cut off the tops of my peppers and I am going to throw them in my garden space. You can also start new plants that way. Usually you can keep the pith. It actually is edible. Sometimes it can be more of a pain in the butt than it's worth, but some of it isn't like the greatest looking today, so I'm not going to keep any of that because it's starting to get angriness. It's starting to get a little brownish here and there, and I don't even want to be involved with it. The peppers themselves were fine, and if you need to cut any bits that aren't fine off, again, you could throw them in a compost pile if you have a garden space, or if you do composting, you can also compost into like 5-gallon buckets, 2-gallon buckets, and bury them. You can make worm food, and then once that has composted some underground, have it covered. There are multiple videos out on YouTube. I've seen them. Some of them are pretty good. You have to drill little holes into the bucket that you're using so that worms can get in, or you have to throw worms into the bucket, either or, because worms will have to get into the bucket somehow, because otherwise they're not going to eat the compost. But I just wanted to do this other quick take, and that was it. So I hope everybody enjoys and look beyond your comfort zones and try some new foods, especially if they're healthy new foods, and more especially if they're healthy foods, whether they're organic or not. Organic is better technically, usually. Organic is best if you know that you are the one that grew it, so then you know for sure that it's organic and that they're not like doing wordplay. But that's a whole nother conversation that would be a lot longer than the quick take that I'm intending this to be. So yeah, if you can find other ways to extend your food budget, and or if you have a garden, to make your garden compost healthier, to make your garden stratum healthier by feeding it nutrients, throw the nutrients in. Or you can also make a grass soup. If you cut the grass, you can actually make a soup out of that. You just have to not use a cheesecloth, but you'd have to filter it out before you throw it in the garden, because you don't want a bunch of grass seeds in the garden, because that kind of defeats the purpose of a garden. But you can actually do that, and then you can actually filter that through Depending on what weeds you have in your yard, and if you spray, don't even bother. But if you don't spray, I don't spray. So I could do that. But let's be honest, I have a tendency to eat a lot of the weeds, so they don't actually last long enough to become garden compost. But that's a whole nother conversation. Hey, thanks for stopping by again. See you soon. Bye.